the volume a bit, and then let's say good morning everybody. My name is Osei. This is Farming Simulator 17 on the Lawfolds Aberdeenshire map, and I've been selling a little bit of grain. It's 9 o'clock in the evening, so I'm figuring it's time to head back to the farm, go to bed and see what the weather's going to be like in the morning. Weather report says rain, and that'll probably click over. It's 9 o'clock now, so that probably won't click over to primary until about midnight. Again, worst time in the morning when I live because the sun's starting to come through the window. So off camera since last week, I've finished all of the ploughing and or cultivating and planted all of the fields that I need to plant with oilseed. Whoa, radish. It's that turning. So we've got day 6 of summer to do, which looks like it's going to be raining a lot. I'll put the covers over the tippers on this rig. And possibly, if we get the chance, we'll sell some more grain. All the straw here has gone, all the straw down at the sheep farm is gone. I'll park that there. Lights off, engine off. And oh, we parked too far forward. Never mind. I'll put that cover on and that cover on. We'll get out. We're done with this field, so I can shut the gates. And there's the sunset. So I'll check the respective pricing. Wheat is low. Kind of want to wait till winter for that. Same with barley. Same with canola. We don't have sunflowers. Soybeans just come off a high. Corn, I really don't want to sell. So it's not the best time of year to sell anything. Oh, except maybe cows, but I don't want to sell cows right now. So, skip the night. All I have to do tomorrow is mow the grass. Okay. Didn't rain. I'm not making as much money as I'm spending on the farm. 10,300, 10,400 for vehicles and animal upkeep. Milk didn't make that much. Let's check the animal stuff. Animal stuff. Okay, cows were up to 74. I think I only need one more. And the next one will be in 10 hours, which is before this evening. Then we're kind of done. So, do I get out there and start mowing? Yes. So I'm going to do it with this. Or not. How the heck did that happen? There's the mowing kit over there. So we need to mow, windrow, bale and wrap. Look at that weather though. I was checking out Smetty's page on Facebook yesterday evening, and for Farm Sim 17 he's done with the... come on, there we go. He's done with the Class Axion 900 series, which is the one attached to the mowers. He is also working on the Axion 800, which is the slightly smaller version. He's working on the Zerion 4000, which is the big tractor we have there, all for Farm Sim 19. He's already declared he's not going to be doing the Arian, which is the sort of small tractor, kind of in the I'd say the Valtra A series kind of size. Okay, is that close enough for a follow me? No. Okay. Stopped. No, that was okay. So he's now good to go. This one needs to move forward through the gate. Should now be able to sit behind him. You need to be out about 25 and offset when we get there. Unfortunately, having spent almost the entirety of yesterday cutting grass on the Alpine panorama map, that's kind of what we've got to look forward to today. Okay, start at the front, unfold lower, unfold lower, stop, thing on the back. This area right there. You come off, follow me. We need to unfold. Lower. Turn on. Steering, okay, and go back on follow me, and we'll drop you back to 25. Okay, now we move forward again. You, we can unfold it, thank you. I believe need to be about 3 meters over. I never remember that. I need to wait till a bale drops. See how good our guess was with the wrapper. What does the weather look like? Early morning, kind of hard to tell, but it is going to rain soon. Doing it like this should mean that any bale that is on the field is in a wrapped state. Bale is falling out the back. Okay. And the bale wrapper is wrapping. Okay, we're good to go. Oh, good morning to you, Tigress. How you doing? Yeah, this is a regular for me. As far as I'm aware, there's really not many people broadcasting this time of morning. At least not American. And most of the Europeans, it's what? Getting on for about 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and Saturday's usually a day you go out and do weekend stuff. That's just a trip to the grocery store. The way I figure it, my day doesn't start till about midday. And the wife gets up and we make moves to go shopping. So I might as well play Farm Sim 17. See what trouble we can get into. Well, the good news is on this front we didn't get any bales dropped on the bottom of the field. Only 11 miles an hour, I probably shouldn't do that. So gauge cruise control. Part of the problem with that is the wrapper can't keep up with this speed. Oh yeah, I kind of quit. I hadn't played for about 4.5 hours last night. Did an extended first look at the Alpine panorama map. It's an interesting map because there are 5 defined fields and 3 of them are incredibly small. Oh, it started to rain, so we're kind of done here. Let's turn off that mower, turn off that mower, we can run forward so the windrower finishes. And then we can turn that off. Follow me. Oh, turn off the baler and empty it. That's what we need to do for that. And then I'll pull up alongside the class. Axiom. We'll turn that one off. You're not having much success, are you? Okay, see how many of these we can get wrapped up in short order. Yes. Well, also, I mean, the other problem I have with, especially with Farm Sim, is, or with, should I say, Farm Sim on big maps, is that you're doing the same thing every week. Or you're doing the same thing for the entire day session. Yesterday I bought 2 of the grass pastures. Off camera, before I even started streaming, I'd already mowed and windrowed most of it, so it was just baling and wrapping that needed to be done. And then I had another field that I needed to ted and bale. But really, all I did was cut grass. I'm doing the same again now, but that's part of where Farm Sim 19 works better than Farm Sim 17. Getting bales into this darned wrapper. So if you're a little bit off, like I am now, the bale doesn't slot in. On Farm Sim 19 it jumps. I'm getting too close to, yeah, I thought so. Okay. Avoid the rake. And yeah, that bale's not going to go in that wrapper. This is... no, that's no good at all. Now I've pushed it under the... far less trouble with the with the Farm Sim 19 wrapper. Oh, come on. Seriously. Bingo. Finally. Okay. And run this round. But with the small maps, even with the setup that Arthur has on Fellsborough, what am I doing? Unloading. You know, the area he is working is small enough that, you know, he gets a couple of jobs done in one stream. It's not, I'm working one field and that's pretty much it. I tried the same with Rolling Hills, and that's a huge map. Very, very realistic feeling. But even with the biggest harvester and a big tractor and a big tipper, it took me 2.5 hours to harvest one field. So, and I kind of get, you know, it's sort of, how entertaining is this? I mean, I'm obviously, Farm Sim as a game I wouldn't call thrilling entertainment, but it's something you can sit and watch, and yeah, while you're doing something, usually, at least that's what I do. And yeah, but I do like, you know, if even with a Farm Sim stream or YouTube video, if there's variety, there's probably a little bit more interest there, if you know what I mean. With South Mountain Creamery, what we did at the end of Farm Sim 17 as a multiplayer, it was one farm, everybody working towards the same goals. And so I felt the game was far more community oriented within the team. But also, you know, you could take turns. Okay, you can plough the field, you can, you know, I'll go and do something else. And, you know, once the field's ploughed, okay, who wants to seed it? Okay, I'll do a little bit of seeding. But you have a couple of people doing each job, so each job is fairly quick. And as a stream, you're... why didn't that work? Because I'm set to... pallets. I don't want to be pallets, I want to be square bales. Ah. Square bales. There we go. And while the sort of competitive aspect of well, not even really competitive aspect, but the sort of the ability to have many people doing different things on Farm Sim 19 is kind of cool. I don't think it translates well to a stream because each person, or each farm manager, for want of a better term, is trying to organise his farm and get work on his farm done, and as a stream you're kind of overlaying each other. Missed a few. I need to go down here, unload them, and then break that up somehow. What I'll do is I'll drive through them. Well, I don't have to actually. Let's do this. Come from this side. And hopefully just trigger the first. That worked. Very carefully, that worked. Come away. So yeah, in answer to am I going to do Marwell Manor, I think yes. I will do similar to the last two maps I did, so the Alpine and the Rolling Hills. What I'll do is I'll do an extended first look, quite possibly either later today after I've been shopping, or tomorrow afternoon. And while it's not sort of a traditional first look the way a lot of people do them, where you're talking a sort of half-hour video, drive around the map, have a look what it's like, it will be more of a sort of first day on the farm type affair. What can we get done? I'll be playing as a new farmer mode so that we get the farm buildings all set up. I will quite possibly sell the starting equipment and do my own. And we'll see how, basically we'll just, like I said, we'll play the first day, and I did that at the end of Farm Sim 17 with Old Stream Farm. 2 weekends running I did how to start a farm without seasons, and how to start a farm with seasons. And kind of the differences between the two. And all it is just a little quick look, play a couple of hours, and see how the farm goes. And it's like I said with the Rolling Hills one, the fields are so big and cheap, you can buy a couple of big fields. And if you buy a couple of big fields that are ready to be harvested, you can literally turn over $600,000, $700,000. Yes, starting equipment is great, but I need to take a look at it. You've got the big Fendt tractor there, and I don't know how applicable it is to that sort of size of farm. Okay, you can stop there, turn the engine off. Need to go back to the truck. Now, the tracked Fendt is great because it's got pretty much a 0 turn radius. But it's huge. And the John Deere is big as well. And what I'm thinking, I usually like to have at least one tractor that can run a front loader. So what do I do? Buy a third tractor and use that for front loader, or do I skip it? What do I want to do here? Load to, oops, there. Do I sell the really huge tractor, which, yeah, the John Deere I think is possibly adequate for the equipment I'm running, or that's available there, and potentially for the field size, and then use that as the primary and get a small tractor. And yeah, I mean, while you might be able, it's 6R, yeah, the 6R might be able to have a front loader. It's kind of a tight farmyard, but you have big fields, and I may just want a small yard tractor. Much like I did yesterday on the Alpine farm, I had, oh crumbs, what did I have? I had a New Holland T8, 300 horsepower, which could haul pretty much everything I had. But then in addition, I got the 8340, which I just put road wheels on it, because I was just going to use it as a yard tractor. It's small and agile enough that I can park the heavy equipment without crashing into things. And you can potter around the animal pens and feed the animals with it. So it's a good small tractor, but you don't have that on Marwell. And you've just got two very, very big tractors. I'd even consider on Marwells possibly something like the Lindner, because it's an all-wheel steering tractor. It's a small all-wheel steer tractor. You could go for the JCB, is it the 3X series, the smaller one, because that's also a four-wheel steer, and you can have a front loader on it. So we're kind of stuck here until the rain stops. Speed up time. If I could speed up time. I mean, the other one I'd like to take a look at, I think, is Maypole. I finally found the download for it, and so I could take a look at that and see what's what. That's another tiny farm, but because you need to be able to do field work, the Lindner isn't quite so useful, because you can't put narrow tyres on it. High demand for corncob mix. I don't have any, and I don't intend to have any, so that's not happening. And there's the sun. Yay. Field's still wet, so what we'll do is we'll go here, and I think we'll sell some grains. Might as well make a little bit of money. Oh, why did that pop off? That's interesting. Yeah, and you know what? That's why I like Oxygen David and Bullet Bill's work, because the farms they do are based on real life farms, and as such you can tell that from the map. One of the concerns I had with the Alpine farm, it's very basic in its design. I would say the modder doesn't have maybe too much experience developing farm sim maps. So the roads are almost placed like a sort of child's toy, if you like, where you can you have strips of road, you put them together and you can drive your cars on it, type of thing. But I'm not going to fault him for that. It's a very basic map. There is no traffic. Okay, fine. And the corners are way too sharp. You're talking 45-degree bends or 90-degree bends. And with a T8, you can't get it round the corners between the lanes. But is that really a problem? If you play it as a multiplayer map, that simplicity is going to translate well into less lag for the players, because there's less data going between you and the server. What else? It's functional. All the sell points work and everything else. So I think in its way it's a good map. It's not a realistic map, and it's not a map you can really immerse yourself into because everything looks right. I mean, this map, this lane I'm driving on, it kind of doesn't look right, although potentially it is, because when people just put a light track down, they may put gravel down and then just slap blacktop on it. It's not proper road surface, it's just a surface that stops you churning up mud and getting your equipment dirty. But everything else about this map, in general, feels realistic. The edge of the map sucks, but a lot of the edges of the map suck in Farm Sim 17. This one just has a solid wall. I think Oldstream Farm had sort of panels along the side of the map that rotated to face towards you, so it always looked like there was a tree. But it was like eyes that, the classic spooky movie where the picture's eyes follow you as you walk across the room. Okay, where are we going with this stuff? But it was ways to do things so that it gives the impression that the map looks right. It's just when you get really close to the border, it doesn't. And that... Oh, A&M Group Brains, that's the main farm builder. That's the main store. But Marwell Manor is something completely different. It's a very realistic feeling map. And it's because it's based on a real place. And, Caldwell Park Farm felt right. And, some of the others that Oxygen David and Bullet Bill did weren't based upon an actual place, but they used their design techniques, so they still made the maps look realistic. And as a single player map, you appreciate the realism feeling. Oldstream Farm was another map that felt realistic. It felt you were part of the town. The traffic was brain dead and drove in a figure eight, but it was a well-designed map and felt right. And even Giants maps. Ravenport, Fellsbrunn, they look professionally done. They look, there is an essence of realism to them all. And tick the back first, okay. And I haven't seen the southern farming map yet, but I would guess it's also, it'll look and feel right if he's based it on his youth. And with Farm Sim 19, I think it's, if a modder takes his time, he's capable of making something look far more realistic than you could in Farm Sim 17. I mean, the roads on this map, where they change elevation, there's a very sharp, oops, I did it again. The driving around the bends on this it feels very natural. But when we get to the end here, the sort of the change in the level to the drop down is a little bit sharp right here where we start dropping down. These can be a little bit too noticeable. You kind of want it to flow into the drop and then flow out of the drop. But enough of the rest of the map is right that you don't have an issue with it. Yeah, obviously something like the Truck Sim, ETS2 and ATS, because it's a driving game, the roads are far more natural. This is not a driving game, so there isn't as much detail paid to how the editor changes a contour. Now in the fields where there aren't any roads, even Farm Sim 17, you see there is sort of a big change in gradient. But in the fields that's far less noticeable because you can contour the land, and because it's not what I'd call an asset like a road is. A road is placed on the map, whereas a field is just contoured on the map. So I can drive around the fields and it feels very natural. And this map is very indicative of a problem Farm Sim 19 has, in that where all the buildings are placed, it's completely flat. But then you have to match it back into the contours of the land. So sort of driving down here, it's fine. I think this top part of the yard, this is relatively okay because the land flows into it. But the base land, if we look over there, carries on dropping away. So if I go round here, and come around to this side, now we're starting, the ground's dropping away, but the buildings are staying level. So when we get to this bit, the truck tips sideways because of the angle the ground has to go to return back to, and there's this huge, there's the flat area coming out of those barns, but then you've got a huge slope down to get back to the level that the ambient gradient is on. And the same over here. The the farmhouse is level, but there's a very steep drop off which you don't experience on the field behind the farmhouse. And that's something that I very noticeable on Farm Sim 19 when you put a placeable down. It's horrible at times. You getting that land so that you don't have this huge ridge outside of a barn is incredibly difficult. And then it tells you, well, I can't smooth the land out because there's a building here. Well, yeah, I just built it, but I kind of would like to have the ground at least somewhat smoother. Because I think on Estancia Lapacho, if I'm not careful, I can ground out a 3-point, something that's attached on the 3-point at the rear of the tractor. If I'm trying to reverse it into the shed, I can ground that thing out and I can't get it back up. And I have to pull forwards and then take a running jump at it going backwards. What, the Land Rover I've got at this farm? Well, no. I mean, technically, I would love to have a 1970s two-door short wheelbed Land Rover for this farm. It would fit really nicely. But the problem with Farm Sim 17 mods, for the most part, there's not much choice in the way of a right-hand drive car. These trucks are all left-hand drive, so I'm having to drive them on the wrong side of the road. But, in essence, from a steering standpoint. And this just feels all wrong. I should be sat on the other side of the truck. The Land Rover itself is a right-hand drive. I think someone did the base old Lizard pickup in a right-hand drive setup, but the old Lizard pickup isn't prototypical of British roads. I don't use that Land Rover much anyway. But also, it's probably unrealistic for me to have a farm that's got almost £300,000 in the bank, and I don't have any loan. Right, now, in England, if you go to a farm on England, a lot of the times you'll see one of the old Toyota pickups, the one that featured on Top Gear, where they decided to destroy it and ended up chaining it to a jetty on a beach and letting the sea water run over it, and it still worked after that. I think it was a Toyota. Was it Hilux? I mean, you're talking a 1980s model. I know the modern Hilux. I don't remember what the old style, what the older ones were like. Named. But one of those. You're seeing utility pickups that have got quite a few miles on it. So, ex-military is a good place to get old Land Rovers. But there's also, other places. You'll just find a sort of 1970s short wheelbase two-door Land Rover pickup. Something that you can throw a bale or two in the back of the bed and drive the car out, or drive it out to a field and feed your horses, your cows, whatever. what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the cow farm and unload that silo. I try to keep most of my grains in the silo in the middle of the map. It's easier to find them. The pigs need them as food. Ground's still wet, so we can't do any more mowing. But that was early morning rainstorm. So we've got most of the rest of the day to get the grass I wanted to get mowed cut. Assuming the ground dries out fast enough. I need to get the field we're currently doing and the field 1 over by the cow farm cut. I got no rush to do the big pasture at the bottom, but I'd like to get that done before the end of the year and then start to plough that up, reseed it with grass. I might need to rent a small plough to get the edges of the field smoothed out. This is another sort of horribly contoured thing. Yeah, you need to be flat where the downpipe is, but off to the side there, that is a horrible drop off and a horrible what's it? Yeah, but you can't smooth it out. So what have we got here? 55,000 wheat. 124,000 barley. Okay. It leaves us not a full trailer left over. Gonna do that. Oh yeah, it was a Hilux. I've got a horse farm in my area that has two 1970s US Army